It's late. And if you're listening to this right now, you're probably alone. The stories you're about to hear don't begin with monsters. They begin with ordinary moments. A walk home, a quiet room, a feeling you can't explain. And by the time you realize something is wrong, it's already too late. Here you will find true stories, my stories, the unknown's stories, and whatever is there, its stories as well. I awoke in the dark, pitch darkness all around me. Could I move? A little. Where am I? I felt around I could sit up at least. I reached out and felt a cold, smooth surface. It felt like metal. How did I get here? Kept telling myself, don't panic. Think. Where was I last? I dared not knock. Whatever or whomever put me here may hear me. Maybe they thought I was dead. I remember moving, like in a vehicle, but I wasn't driving. I remember seeing, was it the grocery store, the gas station? There was a building. Why can't I remember the building, whatever it was? I ended up in it. How did I get there? I don't know. Why am I here? I can't remember, but I remember it was empty. I remember it seemed off. I wanted to leave, but I couldn't force myself to move. I saw a door, then I went through the door. Wait. The door slammed behind me. The room was totally white. Just one square room. White walls, white floor, white ceiling. Part 2. Then I felt dizzy. I felt like I was falling. I thought I saw a face, a twisted, grotesque face. Then another. I couldn't see anymore. I felt hands. So many hands all over me, but I couldn't see, couldn't move. Then silence. I felt nothing. I saw nothing. I heard nothing. The blackness was all there was. Wait, I just heard a sound, a clanking metallic sound. I lay back down. I drew my legs up close to my chest. The metal box was long enough for me to lay down in and sit up, but now I was afraid. I knew something or somebody was out there. I didn't want them to find me. Then I heard the sound so close to me. It was a rumbling on the other side of me, a clanking, metallic, rumbling sound. I heard a murmur of words. I could not make out what they said. Then I heard a click. Then there was a streaming, blinding white light. Part 3.
When are they going to do the autopsy on number 15?
A man's voice said as they pulled my body out of the morgue drawer. I am dead. But how and why? If I am dead, then why didn't I go to the great beyond? Why didn't I go to heaven, hell, or somewhere? Why am I still here? I slowly slid out. The man didn't look at me, nor did the other man in the room, which unmistakably was the morgue in a hospital. I felt like screaming. I felt sick. How can a spirit, a ghost, feel sick? But I did. I went towards the door and reached out, and all of a sudden I was outside on the sidewalk. I felt really sick now. I was getting angry too. Why am I here? Then I felt something, an icy feeling, uneasy, a presence. It was bad, really bad. I looked and I saw a black shape. It didn't have form, but I knew it was coming for me. Part 4. I ran, and before I even got halfway down the street, I found myself in a house, in a room, a bedroom. Was this my room? It felt familiar, but nothing looked right. Neat, well kept. Something in me told me I was not a neat person. I was not a Susie homemaker. Then a man walked in. He stood with his hands on his hips, looking into the room. I recognized him. I tried to wave my hands in front of his face. I tried to speak, but no words came out. I stood in front of him, and he could not see me nor hear me. Then he walked through me. I felt him. Warmth, but then icy cold. He shivered and looked back. The man was my father, but something wasn't right. I didn't feel love from his presence. I didn't feel sorrow. I felt warmth. Then the icy coldness of nothing. I grew angry, confused, sad, and I went out the open door. It shut behind me. I didn't do it. It just closed. My father just mumbled something about damn wind. He grabbed a notebook that was on the dresser and reopened the door, left it open, and went down a small hallway and into the living room and out the front door, leaving me, the spirit, the ghost, alone in a house that was familiar, but wasn't how I thought I remembered it. I recognize one person here, my dad. But why did he feel so cold? Why can't I remember anything? Bits and pieces. A movement, a feeling, then it is fleeting away. I went to the room, which I guess was my room. I noticed something covered in a far corner of the room. It was partially covered with a blanket. I needed to see better. I reached out and the blanket slid to the floor. Under the blanket covering was a machine. It looked used. It had tubes coming out of it, a mask-type apparatus hung limply by the side of it, and all kind of switches on it. Part 5. Was that it? Was I sick and I died from something, some terrible disease? No, wait. Then why would they need to do an autopsy on a person they surely would have known had died of a disease? I needed to get back to the hospital, to the morgue, to my body. I rushed to go out the front door. Blinding light. Sick. And now I am back in my room. I tried again. Same thing. I tried a third time. Same thing happened, but now I was very sick at my stomach. I felt sad, tired, and angry. And now I am trapped. I can't leave. My mind flashed to the black thing from the street. What if it found me? Now, on top of everything else, I was afraid. If it came, I couldn't run away. It seemed like an eternity before my dad came back. He wasn't alone either. A young woman followed him in through the front door.
I told you, we shouldn't have left it that way.
Dad mumbled as he sat down on the sofa.
It will be fine. You worry too much.
The young woman said as she made her way into the kitchen. I did not know this woman at all. She was a complete stranger to me. She walked past me, and I stood at the doorway, feeling helpless. I watched as she took 2 glasses down from the cabinet. She got out a pitcher of tea from the refrigerator, all completely normal, until she pulled a packet out of her pocket. I watched in complete horror as she poured just a little bit into one glass and stirred it in. What was I going to do? This lady is trying to poison my dad. She picked up the glasses. Each step she took seemed in slow motion. Red-hot rage went through me. I went headlong at her, the same icy feeling of cold nothingness as we passed through each other. She must have felt something more. She let out a gasp, and both glasses fell to the floor and shattered.
What happened, Trisha?
I don't know. I got this awful cold feeling. I'm sorry.
She replied. Well, now I knew her name, and I knew she was out to hurt my dad. Part 6. The evening went about just normal for my dad and Trisha. My dad got up and told Trisha he was heading to take a shower. She nodded and smiled up at him. I just couldn't believe this witch. Nice and smiling all along in her mind, thinking about cold-blooded murder. In about 5 minutes, Trisha got up from the sofa and went to the basement door. She stopped and listened. She was making sure she heard the shower running. Then she slipped down into the basement. I followed. I watched as she pulled out a shoebox. She took out dried plants and a small muddling bowl. I watched, astonished and horrified, as she crushed the plants down to fine powder, then placed it in the envelope that she had in her back pocket. Then up the stairs she went, leaving me shaken, standing in the dark basement. I knew I was going to have to do something to alert my dad, but what? I knew they both could feel me when I passed through them, but there has to be more that I can do. The door slamming. How did I do that? If I can just get Dad down here to the basement, maybe I could slide the box out for him to see. The night went along. Nothing unusual except for the fact that a ghost never sleeps. I just stayed in my bedroom. When all you have is your thoughts, you really can think of a billion ways to draw attention. But energy is something that dwindles, just like in the realm of the living. Part 8.
Are you absolutely certain that it can't be traced?
My dad shouted at Trisha, who was standing with her hands on her hips in the kitchen.
I have told you 1,000,000 times. What I gave her will never show up.
She said back to him angrily. Oh my God, Dad knows. They both were involved in what, poisoning me? But why? I felt overwhelming sadness, but it quickly went to red, seething, maddening anger. I didn't have a second to lose. I quickly went to the basement door. I flung it open. It crashed against the wall. Thump, thump, thump went my steps as I bounded down the steps. I went straight to the dark corner and slung the box out onto the basement floor. Items spilled out everywhere. Vials of liquid rolled across the floor. White powder fell out. Parts of dried plants fluttered across the floor. Then I was spent. It all went dark for me. I had no idea how long I was in a dark void. It was all a bit hazy for me when I came to and realized I was back in my room, sitting on the edge of my bed. I could hear shouting from down the hall. I phased myself into the hallway. The woman named Trisha and my dad were arguing.
Why do you still have that crap in the basement?
My dad yelled at Trisha. Trisha took a step backwards in the hallway. She couldn't say anything. I wonder in her murderous, panicked mind if she thought Dad was going to hurt her. That is when the black thing was on me. I felt a heavy weight, then calm, then a seething, black, burning rage. I rushed headlong toward my dad's back. I went through him. I felt anger, fear. Then I was already through, and I hit Trisha right in the chest. Trisha fell back and through a window that was at the end of the hall. Trisha never even had a chance to scream. She hit the ground outside with a thud. Blood spread out where she laid. My dad was standing, arms down to his sides, his face a ghostly pale. He whispered a name, Sarah, and he fainted right there, just falling down to the floor. Part 9. It wasn't long before police cars, an ambulance, and the neighbors started to gather outside. I found myself back in my room. The black shape was in front of me, but I could see it taking form now, more human. I was still afraid, but for some reason I was also curious. The shape turned into a young man. I am sorry I scared you, it said. My name is Kevin. That woman was my stepmother at one point. She killed me. The now dark form had turned an ethereal blue color hue. I have followed her. I couldn't stop her from doing what she did to you. And I hate your father was involved. I found my voice at last and said, but why? Why did they kill me? Why did she kill you? My voice almost came out in a whisper. The same reason I was money. I think we both were both very ill, and maybe we both had large amounts of insurance money. I don't know for you, but for me that was it. Trisha likes to poison. The poison she uses is not one that shows up in blood tests. I felt like screaming, so my dad meets a woman, and just like with Kevin, she tells him how to score a big payday and rid himself of a burden. Me, I felt so sad and bitter at the same time. I heard people going in and out of the house. I heard them asking my dad questions. He mumbled responses. I think he was still in shock. I believe he saw me. Maybe just for a split second, he saw me. There was a lighted doorway that just appeared in my room. Well, this is my doorway to the next. I really hope your doorway comes soon. Try not to hold on to this life. I did for a long time, and the black shape is what I became. Anger and resentment are not your friends, and believe me, there is more than just this existence. Kevin said to me as he turned and stepped through the doorway, and just like that, he and the doorway were gone. Chapter 10. My dad had to go down to the police station to explain what had happened. I am quite sure he had to tell a lie. He had to say somehow it was an accident. Trisha fell out the window, but I also knew that they would be trying to blame him. He could not very well say that a ghost shoved her out the window. The night passed, and it wasn't till the next morning I saw my dad come in the house. He wearily sat down on the sofa. He put his face in his hands and started crying. I could do nothing but stand and watch. God, I am so sorry. Sarah, you were in such pain. I just thought that it would be better if you went on, he said through his sobs. I felt anger and sorrow all at the same time for him. What am I supposed to do? Forgive him for killing me. I know that Trisha was just going to kill him too. There was a loud knock at the door. Dad answered the door, and a Detective Samuel Blythe stepped into the living room.
Mr. Littleton, I have some concerning news. The woman that fell out the window, her name wasn't Trisha Graves. Her last name was Graves, but her first name was Kim. She was wanted in the death of her husband and her teenage boy named Kevin,
the detective said as he sat down on the sofa.
This brings me to your daughter Sarah. I believe she was behind her death as well. I am sorry.
My dad slumped down in the chair. The detective talked to my dad for what seemed like hours. He explained everything in great detail and told my dad he was lucky she didn't kill him too. Dad sat there with bleary eyes and nodded. Once the detective left, my dad went to the kitchen and got a bottle of liquor. He went to the basement and sat at the last step. He drank the whole bottle and passed out there at the bottom of the steps. Chapter 11. It wasn't until almost noon my dad got up and staggered up the steps of the basement. The phone was ringing off the hook. Dad answered, and I could hear him say something about needing time off. I guess it was his job. I didn't hate my dad. Just because I can't remember being in pain does not mean I wasn't when I was alive. When Dad went to get another bottle of liquor from a cabinet, I got angry. I know he was in shock, depressed, and sad, but I was not about to watch him drink himself to death. I saw the black shape forming in the kitchen. I swung with all my might and knocked the bottle from his hands. It shattered on the kitchen floor. Dad looked shocked.
Dad, don't. I forgive,
came a whisper of my voice. Then everything went to that dark place again for me. I found myself once more in my bedroom. I could hear voices from outside. I looked out my window and saw my dad being put into a police cruiser. I overheard the detective tell another policeman that was there that my dad had admitted to helping with my poisoning. It wasn't but just a few minutes I saw a doorway appear. It was overflowing with bright yellow light. Now was my time to go into the great beyond. I had doubts. I wanted to stay, but now I could see the black form manifesting again in my room. The choice was clear for me. I had really forgiven my dad, and if I stayed, I really did believe the black mass would overtake me. I would become angry and want revenge against my dad, whom I did not think he was going to get out of some kind of prison stay. I took one last look and stepped through the doorway.